Oh, hello everyone. You caught me pondering a serious question. For my real estate videos, I use the Panasonic GH5s, and I have for a while now. But is this camera still viable in 2021? Let's find out. Welcome back, everybody. As I just said in the beginning, we're talking about the GH5s and debating the topic, is it still viable as a purchase to do real estate videos? And the short of the matter is, I believe it is. And I'll go over a few reasons why. The very first thing I want to talk about is price. For the price in 2021, I'm not quite sure you can find a better camera for the low light scenarios required in real estate videography. The only other option that comes close would be the old A7S II, but I actually think this handles low light a little bit better. And as we go right back onto that, we talk about the price. The price is less. So that's what I like about this. It is a cheaper camera, especially now in 2021, that still creates an incredible image. Whether you're using the 4K all in or the 1080 slow-mo, it still creates beautiful images. I use it to create all of my real estate videos still to this day, and I use it to record the majority of my videos for YouTube. Right now I'm using the A7R II again because I wanted to show you the camera while we talk about it. Talk about a few reasons why I do really like this camera for real estate videography, and one of those reasons is right here on the side. Let me open it up and point it at you right there. It is a full-size HDMI port, not a mini like my Sony A7R II, not a Mini 2 or whatever the other one's called. There's like 3 different mini mounts for HDMI. This one has a full-blown HDMI mount, which I really like. It's useful, and I used to use the Sony A7R II for my videos, and the issue I had there is the connection point of the mini HDMI. I've bought probably 5 of those mini HDMI to full HDMI converters because they break off so easily. This is a solid connection with a solid piece of cable, and it's really useful, especially if you don't want to spend extra money on extra gear you don't need. Everyone has a traditional HDMI laying around. That's just another reason I like it. Reason number 2 I actually really like this is for the reason that most people actually hate micro four thirds. So if you know anything about the full frame and micro four thirds correlation, you know the fact that these micro four thirds sensors, they don't give you the same like bokeh and creamy background as a full frame camera does. And that is actually a good thing for real estate videos because I don't want anything out of focus unless I'm doing a closed in macro style shot. If I'm shooting a room, if I'm pushing into a room, I want as much of that room as physically possible to be in focus, and that's where the micro four thirds actually shines. I can understand if you're trying to create something more cinematic with people involved and you want to blur out some of the ugly things in the background. It makes sense, and you definitely want to spend the extra money to get that full frame camera. But with a micro four thirds, you won't have that problem in real estate video because its focusing distance is longer at the same aperture. Lots of people talk about that as though it's a negative because most people that are talking about the two cameras are relating them to YouTube videos. Obviously, if I'm doing a YouTube video, I want to throw my background out of focus more than if I am doing a real estate video to shoot a house for sale and I want everything in focus. So that's something to keep in mind when you're thinking about your camera purchases. A micro four thirds at the same aperture will actually show more in focus. Number 3, the reason I also love this camera is because it's just very user friendly. All the menus on the back make sense. The only thing that does not make sense about this camera to me is the variable frame rate, or the way you put it into slow-mo modes like 120 frames a second, or I think it goes up to 180. It's kind of a pain to deal with, but every other menu on this thing is very legible. It's easy to go through. It all makes sense. I kind of have issues with Sony menus in the past. I feel they're very cumbersome. There's lots of button pushes in between. This thing has like a multiple menu kind of system. I just find it really easy and handy to use. It also has a flip out turnaround screen for those of you who might need that. Maybe you're doing an introduction to the property and you want to see yourself if you are the one doing the intro instead of someone else holding the camera for you. It's smaller. So if you saw my last video, if not, you can check it out right up here. It was all about the gimbal that I use. I use the Weebill S because it's a smaller gimbal. It does have a smaller payload, but once again, I'm using Micro Four Thirds, which is traditionally a smaller system. The last thing I really like about this camera is its battery life. It has a nice big chunky battery in here and it lasts forever. I never have to change it during a shoot. As a matter of fact, I rarely even change it through the day. So I'll video multiple houses in a day and I'll never have to change the battery. It gets down to like 20% or something like that. So that's another really handy thing when you're talking about the load you carry around all day, the difference between carrying 5 batteries for my Sony like I used to and 2 batteries for this. So that's a big difference. And like I said, this one I never even have to pull out that second battery. That's super awesome in the field to never have to worry about. Look, right now I can see I'm gonna have to stop this video this close to the end and change the battery. Sony. All right, here we are, we're back. I think I'm in the same place. Battery change in the Sony. Maybe Sony batteries have gotten better. I'll find out when that FX3 gets here, but this old battery is complete garbage. It wails out in about 15, maybe 20 minutes if I'm lucky. So that battery life is awesome. I've already talked about everything we wanted to talk about. Is the GH5s still viable in 2021 as a real estate video camera? Are you just getting into real estate video and you want to know what camera to buy? I would say not just yes, but hell's yes. This thing is awesome. I still use it every day for my videos. I have a new one coming to test out, but something tells me I'm going to stay with this because it's trusty. It's trustworthy. It creates a beautiful vlog image that's easy to grade. It's always in focus. Everything's tack sharp. I don't have to go through and readjust the video settings in the camera. The ones that come with it are really phenomenal. Like, how many times have you seen videos of someone saying the perfect settings for the Sony video and decreasing all that extra sharpness and saturation they throw in there? Well, I don't really have that issue. I've never changed a single setting on the vlog in here because it doesn't throw that extra sharpness in there. And that's why I think this is still an incredible camera that you can pick up for really cheap if you're just getting into real estate videos. That's it. That's everything about the GH5s that I really like and why I think it is definitely still viable as a camera in the 2021 market for real estate videos in particular. It creates butter smooth 4K 24 frames a second all in footage. It creates awesome 60 FPS for when you throw it on the gimbal. It is just a beautiful camera all around. So I highly recommend it, even though it's Micro Thirds and people will talk trash about it. That's it. If you like the information, press that like button, mash subscribe, and as always, I'll catch you next time.